50. Yeah. It's 50 shades of life. Let's talk about your type. Are your pockets feeling light?
Does your man treat you right?
Is your sex game lame? Are you searching for some fame? Hey yo, cuz, let's talk about it. Sex house, music wealth, true to self, I knew myself. Boy, you better not lose yourself. But let me mind my own black business. Running up these digits, fresher than them dishes.
Tell your grant your wishes, I'm a tarot reading witness.
Yeah. 5-0. Yeah, 50.
Welcome to 50 Shades of Life. All right, welcome back to 50 Shades of Life. Here we are once again. It is in the midst of summer here, but this time, you guys, I have to shout out to my lovely cousin. You could tell, you guys, she's already into the summer. Look at the hair. She's got the color. She's got the...
What?
Looking fabulous right now. Look at her. Oh, my God.
Whatever. Thank you. Gas me up, please. Thank you.
If you followed the last couple, what chapter was that when we were talking about you doing those like yoga and Pilates moves, and she was trying to have me do it? It was about to kill me.
I'm still working on it. It's been tough.
She's looking fly. She's looking good. So again, this is my cousin Talia, aka Black Magnolia.
Yay! And you're looking great too.
Thank you.
And hello.
Yes.
Our special guest.
Yes. Now, you guys, 50 Shades has gone international. Okay. We haven't even made it a year and we are already international. And I am proud to say that we have gone back to the mother of all mothers, the dopest continent ever, Africa. So I want to give a huge, beautiful and warm welcoming to our lovely guest all the way from Uganda. Oh my goodness, is Lynett. So welcome to 50 Shades.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow, drum rolls. That was a big introduction. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Taya, for having me. I'm very excited to be here on 50 Shades of Life and interested to share, and learn more from you and, share, basically.
Yeah. And you guys, we are hours different. So I just learned, I'm like, I don't even know what time it is. So right now it is, and this is a pre-recorded message. So right now it's 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. Talia is 12:15 Central Standard Time. And then I was like, Lynett, what is it called in Uganda? Like, what time is that called? Because we are Mountain Pacific, So what is it in Uganda? What time is it now?
It's 8 p.m. It's 8:18. And we call it East African time.
East African time. I have never heard that, you guys. I learned something new again. Every podcast, we learn something new. So for those that don't know, because unfortunately, the United States did not educate a lot of Black people how we should have on our continent, our lovely home continent of Africa. So can we educate some people where Uganda is located in Africa on the continent?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Raquel. So the continent is big. It has about 56 countries, and Uganda is in the eastern side. So Africa has mainly 4 divisions. There is southern side. There is northern side where we find Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco up there. So it's mainly Arabic kind of culture. Then we have West Africa, where we have the Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, all those sides. They're in the west. And then we also have a bit of French-speaking people that side a lot, and a bit of people speaking Portuguese that side. Then we have the East Africa, where we now have in Uganda, where Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Malawi, all on the side, eastern side. And also Mozambique. Yes.
I love it. That is awesome. So because I've never been to Africa, it is a dream of mine. And this is actually why Lynett is here, is because she reached out to me a long time ago. And we've been chatting, you guys, for like 2 months, maybe, going back and forth, and our schedules finally aligned, the stars aligned, and she told me a lot more about her purpose, her goal, her business. And I was like, oh my goodness, we definitely have to bring her on 50 Shades of Life. So today she's going to be talking about mainly Black women traveling to Africa. And I've known a lot of people that have gone to Africa, but I constantly hear you're Egypt. I've heard one or a couple of times South Africa, right? We hear Nigeria all the time, right?
Ghana.
Yeah, Ghana. We hear Morocco, but we rarely ever hear Uganda. And she's going to get into a lot of details in terms of what countries, but it's so dope what she's doing because she's highlighting. I'll let her get into it, but I got to set this up. So she is making sure that us women are these beautiful Black women that we are, when we're traveling and we travel to Africa, she has a safe way for us to do it, right? And it's also enlightening and bringing to light, I should say, when we get there, it's a wellness journey. And so we can enjoy this travel. And it's just, I'm super excited. So I'm going to let you get into it. And then, of course, Talia's going to ask her beautiful 986 questions. And then...
No, right.
But what I will say this, and I told
love questions though. They make
yeah. I mean, because you got to educate people. So what I will say is when I've known people to go to Africa or want to go to Africa, they usually have a purpose, especially come from the United States, right? From the United States, of course, everybody knows the story, right? But the thing is to physically live here and to know like we were stripped of everything, right? Our language, where we came from, our names, everything. So now for the first time ever, we're able to do like DNA sampling and as much as we can, right? And do a whole ancestral, like, where did we come from, right? Because like, there's one side of my family where I can go back far because of the type of people that they were, right? Educated, business savvy, so they came from a different line. But from like my father's side, have no idea. Everyone is Papa, Big Mama, we don't even know some people's names. We don't know when people were born because it was a completely different thing. So now I did do a DNA, and a heavy amount of my background is actually Nigerian. And they put us down to the actual tribe. But then there's other areas as well. And then, of course, there's Europe, right? I'm pretty sure the European side is on my grandmother's side, on my mom's side, and other side. But we can see that split for sure. And we never know. So now I can dig a little bit deeper. Now my son wants to dig deeper and all that. So when people go back to Africa, it's like a connection. You know what I'm saying? So tell us, what is, first of all, the name of your actual company? How long have you been doing this? And then give us a little bit of insight as to how can someone like myself or Talia join hands to, get us to come over there to you guys.
Hey, thank you, Raquel. First of all, the company is called Girls Africaa. So that's the mother company. And in that company, there is a community that I developed called Girls Travel Africaa community. And the purpose of this community is basically to share information, to provide safe trips, to give tips, guidance, ideas, suggestions, and just make the whole, and then bring as many women to Africa as possible with a core vision of enhancing travel, but also wellness. So I want women to come to Africa because generally, even I myself as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, sometimes I get really stressed or overwhelmed with all the responsibilities that life just puts on us.
Yes.
And so I'm just creating a space where women can, if it's a group trip, they can bond, they can share experiences. I've had times where I've had clients from the US, from UK, and we sit down and chat over the campfire or over tea, evening tea. And we're basically sharing similar, like same life experiences at different subcontinents, but the same life, you know. And then we encourage journaling, we do some meditation, some yoga. So basically with an emphasis of when the person comes for the wellness trip, you know, they do also cultural immersion, eating organic and healthy foods. When they go back home, they're rejuvenated. They have maybe rediscovered themselves even more through the journaling. You know, maybe they've sparked ideas of business or of life changes, or,
Yeah.
you know, made a bold, solid move. So
Mhm.
our main thing is to see women thrive while they explore the world, you know, but mainly Africa. And because of safety, now we do it purely with female guides. So we're targeting women to come into the continent, rediscover themselves, but then also we're empowering the female guides on ground with employment. So
Wow.
basically, that's the small clip.
That's awesome. So if when females are traveling, so are you establishing their flight, or is it no, they fly to you? Like, how does that actually get set up?
Yes, so I don't handle international flights. Regional flights, like if they're maybe doing Uganda and Zanzibar or Tanzania, I can do those flights, but international, they cover their flights. And I do all the ground handling. So I do the transportation, accommodation, activities. We definitely usually have a chat before, and they get to know their interests. Do they want to do more culture? Do they just want to relax? Do they just want to be in a beautiful, serene, you know, mountain with a lot of green and silence, you know? Then we customize it according to their interests. You know, if they want a bit more yoga and an instructor, we bring that person on board, you know, and we just customize the whole experience from the airport up to all the way when they'll be going back home. So we do all the ground operations.
So how long is it normally? How long is the normal stay?
Depending on interests, 7 days are good enough. Some could do 14 days. I've had clients do 20 days, you know, where they've gone around the country. Now, the ones who do 20 days sometimes do safari, they do a lot of safari, and they do cultural immersion, and they'll come to the city and then do tours. Yes, so they can do, 20 days, but that's on a higher end. But some usually do 7 days. So because we all through different regions, we do Uganda, we do Tanzania and Zanzibar, and then the area of Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia. So sometimes we encourage our clients because the tickets to Africa are usually very expensive.
Oh,
So we usually encourage them to at least do 2 destinations. So they can do 7 days Uganda, you know, 4 days or 5 days Tanzania, Zanzibar side, and then fly back home when at least they have exhausted 2 countries, you know.
mm,
So that way it makes it worth it, the
yeah,
price they pay for the tickets. Yeah,
yeah.
because transfer tickets from Uganda to Zanzibar is just $300 to move from here to there, you know. So yeah.
Oh, okay. And you handle the money differences or exchanges, or I don't know how it works over there. So I know like when I went to the Dominican Republic, right, we had to, get different money there and stuff like that. Is it different money per every location, or how do you guys do it over there?
Yes, it's different money per location. Uganda, they use shillings. Even Tanzania, they use Tanzania shillings, but they are different. The notes are different. In Zambia, they use kwacha. In Zimbabwe, last year when I was there, they were using dollars. Now they have a new currency. They just launched, I think, a month ago. I'll be there in August, so I'll check if they're still using, because they are using only dollar, the US dollar, since their money had crashed due to the
Oh,
inflation.
okay.
Then Botswana, they use Pula. So
Wow.
usually what we do, usually at the airport, we change some forex depending on how long you're going to be in the country and what you plan in case you need to do any transactions. Like
Yeah.
maybe buy some crafts, tip, then we can always exchange.
Wow. Okay. But how do you ensure the safety of your travelers?
Yes, so we ensure the safety of our travelers by working with experienced, trained, and trusted guides. So I would never get a group of clients and hand them over to a guide who I do not trust, who I have not trained myself. Yeah. So we work mainly with female guides, but if we get maybe a group of men and they want a fellow man guide and everything, we get those too. But we work with people who we are sure of, people who we trust. So at least that alone ensures a level of safety. For the women, we work purely with female guides. And then we always brief our clients. The properties where we book them in, the hotels, we check for maximum security. We don't want a situation where a client says, my jewelry got missing, my money got missing. We do not want that, and we don't entertain it. So we ensure that we put them to the best properties where the security is unquestionable. So those are the measures that we put in play.
Okay, so for the different countries, what would we be experiencing? Let's say when we went to Zanzibar and we went to Tanzania. Which ones? What's the differences, and what are the different things? I know you said it depends on what you want to do, but what does it offer? Each country offer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good question. So Uganda, all these countries in Africa, all of them have safaris, but safaris vary. So Uganda, you have safari, but then you have a lot of culture. If you want cultural immersion, Uganda is so rich, and they have preserved their culture. So you can visit culture sites. You can go to culture villages where you go through a whole experience of culinary preparation. There's another place where you go, you milk the cattle, you go cattle keeping. So they have all those different cultural experiences. And then there are also very many places in Uganda where you can go. We have the mountain gorillas, but not very many people do gorilla tracking.
Wow.
But
I've seen that. Yeah.
Love it.
I might do
it. Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I want to go that way.
Yeah. I've noticed that most of the clients I've handled, people of color, they are not so much into the gorillas, tracking them. But there is that, and it's quite expensive because just 1 hour with the gorillas is $800. So you do the gorilla, some people do the gorilla trekking, and then we have the Lake Bunyonyi, which is one of the most beautiful places, Lake Bunyonyi and Lake Mutanda. We usually do a lot of wellness trips there. So it's so beautiful and tranquility. So we do that there. And then in Tanzania, there's a bit of culture of the Maasai. They have big national parks. They're way bigger than what we have in Uganda, definitely. So they have the Serengeti, Ngorongoro. That's in the northern circuit. Then there is Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Then Zanzibar, they offer the white sands experience. So basically the beach safari. And then they do a bit of snorkeling in the waters. They do maybe some places that you can do dolphin tours. There's what they call safari blue tours, where you basically just go on some sand beds, which usually come up when the water levels go down. You go there, you taste some seafood. They have a strong Swahili culture there as well. So you can do trips of that nature. Then they have historical colonial slave trade areas. So you can go to the prison island. You do tours there. There's a tortoise aquarium where you can swim with the tortoises. There are places where you can see the dolphins. And then do some other activities. But Zanzibar has a lot of white sands. So basically a white sand experience, Zanzibar. So usually what I do, I offer my clients a culture experience in Uganda, and then I give them luxury white sand relaxation. So basically just be at the beach and, enjoy the cocktails by the beach and relax and breathe. So usually that's why I do that combination. Yeah,
Wow.
very beautiful place. Yes.
Wow.
Then for Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, that area, we usually do a lot of activities around Victoria Falls. So Victoria Falls is very beautiful. So there are some activities like the Devil's Pool, the Angel's Pool. You do zip lining, you do bungee jumping. You can do a helicopter ride above the falls. They have a luxurious train, which does the evening train dinners. And they have a lot of even like sunset cruise. So they have a lot of sunset dinner cruise along River Zambezi. Then there's something called there's another activity which is almost like a helicopter ride, but it's not. It's called what? Pyrolite, aqualite, something. I've forgotten it. But they have that other activity. And then in Zambia, you can walk with the lions. If you have seen that experience of walking with the lions.
Wow.
It's in Zambia, but also in Tanzania, there's a place where you can get it. Even in Uganda, there's a place where you can get it. but I think it's mainly popular that side. But in Uganda and Tanzania, there are places where you can basically be with lions and zebras. It's basically like they're conservation sites where they've habituated the animals and tourists can go and yeah. So also in Zambia, there's a place where you can feed the elephants. They have an elephant cafe where you can feed elephants. Yeah.
I said, I think I've seen that on Instagram where people were feeding the elephants. And I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
they're so huge. So,
Yes.
there's things like that here, like a zoo or something, but it's not the same when you're in like their element. That's just like
Yes.
a whole different, like what you're describing, it's like relaxing me each level, except from when you talked about like the lions that made my anxiety go up. But
Yeah. So
like
yeah,
imagine the
usually
white sands and like just relaxing. It makes you happy, it makes you
yes,
relaxed.
that is true. That is true. And what we actually do in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, actually most of our trips are usually adventure trips because of the activities best there. If the clients want a bit of wellness, we merge them and then we do the activities on some days and then other days we specialize them for basically just wellness. But because of the activities there, it's mainly an adventure hub because of the bungee jumping, the zip lining, the rafting, the devil's pool and the angel's pool are also quite adrenaline rushing activities. So because of that, we usually put that area as an adventure sport. And then in Botswana, we usually go in Kasane around Chove River, and then we do the game drive because Botswana has the biggest population of elephants. So the game drives in Botswana are usually very epic as well. Yeah. So if the clients are that side, we also do that game drives in Botswana.
Wow. I think, was it Morgan Freeman? Somebody, I think they went, and that's like how I see Africa is through Morgan Freeman or my friend. Or the guy, oh my God, he actually traveled by himself through parts of Africa. And oh man, I watched it like a month ago and they were telling him like, yeah, you probably don't want to go through the desert. But he knew so much about it where he was able, to survive it and all that kind of stuff. But he would meet with some of the people in the different cultures and they would give him advice or give him food or they would show him how they would get water and, just different things or whatever. But I just was amazed because I'm like, it's so many different types of land there, so many elements,
Yes.
so many different environments. And it's like, it's somewhere like if you have any sort of imagination, you definitely want to go, right? Because like what you just described was like a whole different earth. It was like
Not a whole different earth.
And that's just a little bit. That's just a little bit because
She
I've
said,
not
"You
even
don't
talked
even
about like
know all of
Africa.
Africa, honey." She said, "We have everything."
I'm saying like it's literally, and she's describing what is that, 4 different countries, 4 different areas that you're specifically speaking of. So, and I was telling my son, he was
Yeah.
like, "Who are you interviewing today?" And I was like telling him all about, you. And he was like, "What's Victoria Falls?" I was like, "I'll let her explain." So explain to people what Victoria Falls is, specifically my son who will be watching this.
Okay, the Victoria Falls, almost a 50, 20 or something kilometer gorge. So the river Zambezi pours its water into this gorge, like basically what you'd call a rift valley. So basically the rocks just separated and it pours its water into what they call Mwasatunya. Mwasatunya is the name of the Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe and Zambia. It basically means, it's their local dialect. It means the clouds that thunder, because when you're there during any time, you usually see a bit of a cloud, a misty cloud above the falls because of the pouring of the water. If you actually go in Zimbabwe or Zambia during January, February, March, and December, their rainy season, like a big radius of the city has like mist and a bit of like those drizzles from the fall. Like you can be 2 kilometers away from the falls and you're still getting a bit of drizzles, you know. So they're
Wow.
so powerful during the high season. So that area where the Pearl falls, that's the Victoria Falls. And it's the biggest falls we have in Africa.
Wow.
And it actually divides two countries, Zimbabwe and Zambia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So River Zambezi is in Zambia side, and then when you're viewing the Victoria Falls, you'll be in the Zimbabwe side.
Oh, okay. That's kind of how we have Niagara Falls. So Niagara Falls splits Canada and the United States. So Niagara Falls, if you're on one side, you're in Buffalo, New York. On the other side, you're in Canada, Niagara Falls, Canada.
Yeah.
So if we go,
It's very similar.
yeah. So for us, I'm in Michigan. So for me, Canada is literally on the other side of it's closer. We're actually, which is weird. Canada is actually south of us, which is weird.
Oh.
We're the only place where Canada is south of us, meaning Windsor, Canada. But if we go up to Niagara Falls, it's faster for me to get to Canada, Niagara Falls, than me to get to the New York side. So it's really weird. But you spoke on something I did want to get into is what are the like preferred months for people to travel if they want like different seasons? If you mentioned different like, oh, it's this season, that season. Can you get into that?
Yeah, so for Uganda and Tanzania, the seasons don't matter much. So the only time when it's really low season or raining in Zanzibar, that is usually April, March, April. You know, otherwise the rest of the year, you can visit Uganda and Tanzania. Those two countries, their weather is not so aggressive, you know. But they are high season because Tanzania is that tourism is so big. They have only 1 month of low season throughout the whole country, and that is April. You know, because of also a bit of rain, and also Uganda because a bit of the rain. But otherwise, I would say Uganda any time of the year you can visit because it rains like it shines and rains throughout the year. Some months are warmer than others, but then no time when we have it raining day and night for 1, 2 days. It has never happened. I've never seen it, you know. So some months, of course, are more chilly than others, but it doesn't really affect much of tourism.
Wow. Wow. Are you guys in summer now? Is it always summer? Like
Yes, because we are crossed by the equator and we're a tropical country, it's basically summer throughout the year. So it's shining, it's raining. Our temperatures, if they are going so high, maybe they are 30, 20, 25, 26, if they're so high. If they're so low, they're going maybe 20, 19.
I'll put the conversions below you guys because she used Fahrenheit and you're giving it Celsius. So I
Delicious, yes.
put it below you guys. So we use miles. I think we're like the only ones that use miles. The whole world uses kilometers.
You know, America has to be different.
Right. We use miles. So everyone's like, what's kilometer? You know, unless you've been to Europe or Africa or somewhere, you know, it's like, I don't know anywhere else that uses miles. I don't know. I don't even think Mexico does. Do they? I don't
know.
I think we're the only ones that use miles. I don't know. Somebody educate me, let me know who else uses miles in terms of temperature. We use Fahrenheit. And so we'll definitely put that below for sure. So people are kind of like, wait, 20 degrees Fahrenheit? Like, that's cold.
No, I believe
that is freezing.
Our viewers are smart. They knew. They knew what you said.
No, I'm going to educate some people today. So,
and then for the Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, their season is so different from Uganda and Tanzania, which is crazy because they're a bit close. So in Zimbabwe, it's rainy season, November, December, January, February, March.
Oh.
And April it's ending. May, June, July, August, no rain, not a drop.
Wow.
You know? So if you're visiting, like there's some activities like the Devil's Pool, which are not done during the rainy season because the water levels are so high. So if you want to do such an activity like the Devil's Pool, you'll have to do it now. You'll have to come into Zimbabwe or Zambia during August, September, a bit of October before the rain starts. you know. And then also just to note that during that time, it's very dry, like the whole country, like you drive through Botswana, you drive through a bit. Zambia is a bit, is not, doesn't get as dry, but Zimbabwe is dry, like the whole place is brown, something you would never see in Tanzania or Uganda, because those places, even during the dry season, at least most of the things remain green.
So I wanted to know, it's Girls Travel Africa. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the community. Yeah.
Okay. So do we all, let's say I wanted to go, Raquel wanted to go, do you put us with a group and we all go together? Is that how it works? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so it all comes down to you. I do solo trips because there are very many women who travel solo, but I would always advise my clients to move in groups because it takes down your price by a big margin. If I was doing a solo trip, maybe you could find a trip is maybe $4,000 if I was doing solo. If I'm in a group, then it can even go down to 3,500. And yet I'm getting still everything. So because of the cost sharing aspect, group trips are usually better. And then also because of sharing and the wellness aspect sometimes is more pronounced when you're in a group than if you're solo, unless you are a strong introvert and don't want to talk to nobody, then the wellness solo will be good. But sometimes sharing as women helps a lot.
Now, I would love to go in a group with like all my cousins. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Or either other people. That's what I was asking. I didn't know if you put us with like other people who are traveling too, and then we all go together. I didn't know.
There, if it's my annual group trip, it can be done there. But if someone reaches out to me and says, I want to come to Africa, I'm coming with 3 friends, they are taken privately. If someone says, I'm coming to Africa, I'm alone, they're taken privately.
Wow, that's awesome. So, yeah, if I went, I would have to be there longer than 7 days. When I go to Las Vegas, I'm there for 6, 7 days. So I know dang well if I'm going to be going way out to Africa, I am definitely going to be there longer.
I want to be there a month. Go for a month.
Take a whole sabbatical.
Wow.
Yes, I just want to go and just like immerse myself in the culture and talk to people and just learn about their foods and history and all kinds of stuff. That just sounds so fun.
Yes.
To me.
Yeah. I tried to do that when I went to the Dominican Republic with my with some sisters. And it was 23 of us that went. And I was the only one who wanted to go out into like the culture. And I was, you get like 4-wheelers and you go and you can learn about their foods and, the whole thing. And I'm like, because, obviously there's a large African influence, right? And Haiti, Dominican Republic, like there's so much history there as well, to where I was just like, I want to go. But they didn't meet quorum. So I ended up not being able to go. I was so disappointed because I was looking forward to that. But that is definitely something that I would love and to experience. And again, I watch like food shows and history shows, right? And you see like so many different cultures where they're in like, they're so close together, but they're so different. I know you and I discussed this, but can we talk about like flights? Like how far away are the different countries? Like if I fly into Uganda, is that where you would recommend and how far is it for us to go to the different countries that you mentioned?
Yeah, so it all comes down to your interest. If you'd like more of the adventure of Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, flying straight there would be okay. If you want to do the cultural immersion of Uganda, the serenity, the food testing, the community tours, and all that immersion, then definitely flying into Entebbe would be great. And Entebbe to Arusha, which is Tanzania, or Kilimanjaro, is basically 1-hour flight. And it's also roughly 1.5 hours to Zanzibar. So if you're doing Uganda, Zanzibar, it's basically 1.5 hours apart.
Okay.
Yes. And then if you want to do maybe Uganda and Victoria Falls, then that's usually 2 to 3 hours. And that is without calculating the stopovers along the way, because sometimes now mainly for Victoria Falls, sometimes there are no direct flights. So they're usually connecting flights.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, just again, you're educating me. I am completely not educated in this world. So as you're going in between these different places, you definitely are showing going through customs and like passports and all that
Yes,
stuff as
yeah,
well.
yes, visa.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you need visas. And I think one thing which sticks out for all the countries is the yellow fever card. I don't know if you've heard about that, but there's a vaccination you have to get before you come into Uganda, Tanzania, Zanzibar, even Victoria Falls area. So
Mhm.
that's the yellow fever card. Otherwise, for Uganda, you just get the visa for Uganda. Then for Zimbabwe, Zambia, there's what they call the Kaza visa, which is usually given to tourists. So the Kaza visa allows you to get into Zimbabwe and Zambia simultaneously. So as many times as you can, because usually they have so many activities that are on this side and other activities on the other side.
Mhm.
So with the Kaza visa, you can wake up in the morning, and the countries are basically they're like 20 minutes away from each other.
Oh,
So you need to cross back and forth. Some people actually work in Zambia and sleep in Zimbabwe. So
wow.
yes, there's that back and forth. Yes.
How long does it take for someone to get a visa for the different, like, is it months and months or is it weeks or how long does it usually take?
No, no, it's usually weeks.
Okay.
Usually it's weeks. And you just have to look at the different requirements because different countries have different visa requirements before they give you. Most of them usually just want to know, do you have a company you're working with on the ground who's going to handle you? Do you have a booked accommodation? Those are usually some of the things they ask. And sometimes if you have a company, if you're a tourist and you have a company that's going to be handling, then usually they just ask for a letter from that company. And sometimes the visa for some countries, it's usually $50, $30, depending on which country, it varies.
And are
And
people staying in like resorts or hotels or outside? Like, are they doing different things? What does it look like where they're actually sleeping at night? What do those accommodations look like?
Yes, so we have all the way from Airbnb, 2-star, 3-star, 5-star hotels to camping. So usually where the clients sleep is due to their budgets and sometimes the activities. Most of my wellness trips are a bit high end because of the places I usually target for my clients. I wouldn't want to put them in some place which is so small where they don't have like a cabin where they can sit down on the dock or on the veranda and just have a good quiet time. So
Yeah.
usually I put them up in luxury properties mainly for the wellness or even high mid range. Yeah, but if the client's a budget, then definitely we have hotels which are also good quality, but on a lower budget, then if they're even lower budget, then we usually give them options according to their price ranges, because that's one of the things which actually depreciates trips. So you see someone saying, I have a 7-day trip in Uganda and I'm paying $3,000. And I'm saying they have a 7-day trip in Uganda and I'm paying $5,000. So the main thing which differentiates those two is where you're sleeping. Yeah.
that makes sense. And so when we say we're going to set this up with you, do you give us like a list of everything that we need so that we'll understand like what vaccinations we need to get? How do we, or do you take care of the visas? Do we handle that ourselves? How does that work?
Yeah, so mainly for the visas, we work together because we have to write an invitation letter from our side to confirm that you're going to be working with us. And after giving you the letter, usually we can also give you the information required. Yeah, and even follow up with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs here if the visa application has actually come through. In case it takes long to be responded to, we can always follow up on ground here.
Oh, okay.
How much time do we need to prepare, you would think, for us to get ready to travel there?
Minimum of a month, because there are those logistical components. Mainly, if it's high season, most of these hotels, some of them book out. They get sold out.
Yeah.
So if you really want the nice hotels to avoid any disappointments, a minimum of 30 working days. Because we have to secure them early enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
So probably best to do it 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Especially how we have to do and get a passport here. If you don't already have one, it takes 6-8+ weeks for you to even get a passport. So, but when it comes to visas and stuff like that or whatever, I would imagine you want to probably book out well over 3 months probably before you even think about, doing
Yeah,
that.
getting ready to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't for sure. Where and how can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out and schedule some travel arrangements with you? How do they get in contact?
They can reach out to me on my Instagram. I think it's one of the easiest places. Then I can share with you my email and then also my WhatsApp number. Yes, and my WhatsApp, just in case people want a quick, connection.
All right. What's your Instagram again?
Lynett /Lux Travel.
I do have a question.
All right.
I wanted to know,
Yes.
before we wrap it up, what was it like growing up in Uganda?
Yeah.
I honestly, I think I've had a privileged life because I grew up in a middle income family. So my parents gave us the best there was at the time growing up. You know, we had everything we needed. I mean, my father had a car, my mom had a car, so they would drive us to school. We went to the best schools, you know, and my life has been beautiful. Basically, growing up in Uganda, it has been beautiful because I've not lived anywhere else permanently, but it was good growing up, family all around, aunties, uncles, I went to the best schools, university, and yeah, it has been beautiful,
That's
Good.
very, very beautiful. Yeah.
How many people are in Uganda? You know that?
Funny how you asked because currently they're carrying out a mass census. Since last week, they've been doing the census. So we're yet to get those statistics, the current ones. But by 2014, I think we had over 400 million, 40 million people. 40.
Oh,
40 million Ugandans.
I was like 400
40.
million. Okay.
No, no, 40.
Wow, that's still a lot. That's a nice amount of folks. Wow.
Yeah. And funny how, let me share a very weird funny fact. Uganda has so many people compared to Zimbabwe and Zambia. So people in those countries don't produce so much. I
Mm.
don't know if it's because also of the economic setup or the economy of the country, but they have very few children. So the population in Zimbabwe and Zambia is low. It's even worse in Botswana. They are very, very few, and the country is so big. Yeah. So it's
Wow.
funny.
Wow.
Actually,
So I have to ask this. So when you were growing up, what would be some things that you guys would like do as a kid for fun? Like what was
Yes.
like, I'm just curious because I know Talia and I, it was like a whole different vibe what we did. So I'm just curious what you guys do when you were
Yeah.
younger.
okay. We had different games we used to play. We had kakebe. Kakebe is a tin. So it was basically a tin, like they just get like a tin, like a cup, but a tin. So they put it in a particular center and then they tell everyone to hide. So there's one person who is supposed to fish you all out from your different corners. If they see you, that oh, Lynett is there, they're like, Lynett, I've seen you, they run and tap on the tin. If maybe now the person is like an askari or a policeman is looking out for everyone. So if they see you, they come and tap on the tin. If they come and see her, they come and tap on the tin. Like, I've seen you, Tanya. I've seen you, Raquel. But then if Lynett is somewhere hiding and Lynett comes and kicks the tin before the police person has seen them, now it goes back to zero. Now we all go back to hiding. So that's one of the games we used to play. And then we had games like of course keeping the rope where they would hold this side, but someone else would hold the other side. I think we also have it that side. I've seen
Yeah, jump
in
rope.
videos people in the US, yeah, jump rope. And then we used to have on the floor, I've also seen it that side, where you would draw shapes on the floor and then you would throw a coin and then jump or a stone. I think I've seen that side as well in a video where
Um, uh,
I know, it went out of my mind too.
hopscotch.
Scotch, yeah.
yeah. So we
And
had that too. Yeah.
and I also wanted to know, okay, so if I wanted to go to Uganda, and Uganda is known for what?
Uganda is known for having hospitable people, very hospitable people,
Okay.
having the best weather, like our weather is not moody at all. And then we have the food basket. We have a lot of food organic, fresh foods throughout the year, you know, and
So
then
good.
the culture, you know, the culture is very rich. And like you said, you come here, you find people who are doing this and living, like have all this food they eat and everything, and just 1 hour away, you find another tribe with a different way of preparing food, with a different dress code, with a different language. 2 hours away, you find a totally different tribe with totally different ways of making food and dressing and ideologies and mindset. So we have basically that whole culture diversity boiling, and it's being preserved and it's still rich. So you find a lot of that in Uganda. The more I work in different countries like Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, there is no food. Of course, there is food, but like there is 1, 2 carbohydrates. Maybe there is rice and ugali or plum, basically just mashed up posho, you know. But in Uganda, there is sweet potato, there is Irish potato, there is yam, there is pumpkin, you know.
Yes,
So
I'm
much
coming.
okay. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, one last question I did want to ask, and we were going to close it out, is in terms of like your religions and stuff like that, what is it that you guys actually practice over there? Because I know it's different practices and stuff like that.
Yes, oh, that's true. There are different countries have different practices. So mainly we have the Christianity and Islam, but of course, like you have seen in the American, because I read up and follow a lot of the Black American community, we have a lot of the born again, the pastors. That is rapidly growing,
Really?
but traditionally, yeah, it's rapidly growing. It's a pandemic. And I wouldn't, yeah. And the reason why I say this is because if you've watched even African documentaries, they say people are building more churches than factories. Churches don't give employment. Churches don't increase income of the economy. If anything, it just milks its people of the money, because they tell you, you must give tithe, then you must give a miracle offering, then you must give a, you know, sow a seed. So basically, and we have a lot of unemployment, you know. So I feel we have that challenge that people spend more time in churches praying than they spend on growing their skills, on improving their abilities to work and even make a living. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but apart from those, that growing trend, because now there are so many churches, we have Christianity and Islam. Those are usually the main core.
Wow.
Christian or Islam, Catholic, Protestant, the traditional ones, of course. Yeah. So basically, it's like half. Maybe 2/3 of the population could be Christian, and then a third could be Muslim.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's actually what you described is how a lot of the urban Black areas are here in the United States, where we built a church every block, right? And you don't have, it's either, and it's sad, but you have church, you know, houses, and then you'll have a situation where you have a corner store, right? And then you don't have businesses as much as you should. So that we went through that pandemic, especially during, I guess you could say, like the civil rights era, and during other movements during the Great Depression, you know, different things like that, when things where it was pray, and it still is pray, but we don't build half as many churches as what we have right now. Right now, there's massive churches, right? Where you got 1,000 people go here, and you know, you have that. You still have your small churches, but that's a very interesting way that you put it, because we definitely have gone through that. Because if you go through some of the urban areas, you'll see, man, we just passed Protestant, we just passed Catholic, we just passed this, we just passed Orthodox, we just passed, you know, it's non-Pentecostal, it's every block is a different denomination, you know, it's very much so like that.
And I think because I did a lot of research on religion and why it has thrived in African setting. Like you see, religion was brought to us by the European, but we love it more even than they do. And the reason why it has thrived more is because we are so much of a social being as Africans. We're so communal. we're so community based, because initially we had extended families, so people would live in communities.
That's right.
And because of that, when someone joins a church, they feel they've joined a community.
That's right.
So because of the urbanization and how we're having nuclear families,
Yes.
people lack that sense of community and partnership. And because as Black people, we have a strong, love for that community, or that sense, like we have that, like some subconscious need to be in a community.
Yes.
So now when they bring up this, that's how now even as we see, because we are communal people, it has really thrived.
I was going to say, so to wrap it up, what is your favorite place to visit and why in Africa? All of Africa.
My favorite place is right here in Uganda.
I knew you
So
were going to say
basically, no, Raquel, let me give you my reasons. They are valid. They are valid reasons. I love green, like any place with strong green, like it's something that I gravitate towards, and the areas of Lake Mutanda have a lot of green. Then we have Mabira Forest and Chilale Forest. So I love going to those places because my love for green is strong. So I like places which have a lot of green. And around the world in Africa where I've traveled, those two places have a lot of green. And then also there's a forest in Tanzania where I worked for some time. I would love to be there too because of the green.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, oh, you know what? I meant to ask this other part. So I know we talked about the whole safety part. How do you?
Yeah.
Okay. That is good to know. I mean, because it's anywhere, right? You can travel up the street. You can travel overseas. You can travel anywhere where, we're seeing hidden cameras. We're seeing people coming in the, hotels or whatever the case may be. So, but
Yes,
being a Black female, if you're traveling far from your country, wherever you're coming from, you want to ensure your security. So it's definitely heartwarming to hear that you have females that are there that are looking out for you. You guys are doing extra checks. You're a traveler yourself, so you're not just someone that's just out there. And if you guys go to her website, she has all these awesome videos and photos of her adventures as well. So, and I suggest you guys get out to Google Maps and learn these different countries and check them out. But I am excited. So you guys definitely want to book your flights with Lynett and get out there to Uganda. Okay. Wait on Italy. We have been to Italy. We have been to London. We have been to France and Paris and Germany and all these other places. Let's go to Africa. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Uganda. Let's go to Victoria Falls. Let's go to all these places that she has highlighted. It sounds beautiful. I honestly don't know what other kind of terrain you would be looking for, because I think Africa has all of it and then some. And
yes,
you can probably experience more cultures within so many square miles or kilometers than any other place on earth. So I am just super excited to, hopefully people will reach out to you to connect with you, to get that travel arranged, whether it's with cousins or with girlfriends or classmates or best friends or coworkers. I don't know. So, and experience Africa, because I think it's, again, like I mentioned before, it's emotional, for those that we've lost our culture, we've lost everything, right? And we're slowly, I think this generation, like I mentioned to Lynett before, our generation is definitely like, we going back, right? We want to know our roots. We want to know who, what, when, where, why, how, right? So let's make it back to Africa. We want to thank you, Lynett, for being on here. We wish you the best of luck. Stay safe and stay in contact with us. And again, go visit her right here down below. Here's all of her contact information right there. And any advice that you want to give any travelers, or any final words or anything, Lynett?
Yes, yeah, definitely, definitely. First of all, if you're traveling to Africa, take time to make research. Africa has so much to offer. So even if you get another company to work with, when you make research, you will discover more, because Africa is so rich. When you reach out to most companies for a trip, they're usually most times going to give you the basic safari, you know, and then you reach the country and maybe leave the country and then you realize, oh, you didn't do the markets, oh, you didn't do the community, oh, you didn't do the culinary, you know. So if you make a bit of research, it also helps you get the best trip. Then traveling in groups makes it cheaper. That's a good tip. Makes it cheaper, makes it more fun. And then also, if you're traveling in groups, it's important to travel with a like-minded group or with an open-minded group.
Yes.
Because like you mentioned, sometimes you're in a group and I've seen group trips where the team leader is very strict. She's like, we're going on a trip, we all have to do the activities. You know, and some people are like, no, I just want to stay in, I want to sleep. And they're like, no, we're all going, which is not right. So making your intentions for that trip known to your fellow group members makes it easy. Whereby because someone might say, Tina might say, oh, I want to just see everything, no sleeping, you know, and then Raquel might say, no, I want to sleep in, I want to enjoy the food, I want to breathe and relax, you know. So understanding this makes the trip even more fun for the group.
Yes. Is a group considered 10, 5 or more? What is a group considered? What do you consider a group?
A group, even three can be a group. It's a small group, you know. Groups usually consist of like 7, 8, 10, even 3, because the cost sharing starts from as long as it's more than one person.
Yeah.
Even if it's a couple, you know, cost sharing, the price definitely is affected. The bigger the group, the cheaper the trip.
Love it.
Yeah.
And again, you guys, this is for women of color that she specializes in. So this is super exciting. I am so glad we finally linked up. Talia, any final words or questions or anything for this?
I'm going to get everybody and we're going to go. We're going to see you, Lynett. I'm so excited about it. It sounds really good. So look for us. We're going to set it up. It might be 2025, but it's coming.
Yes, I'm excited.
Thank you, Raquel. I really was waiting for more questions from Tanya. They said there were over 300 questions.
We have to have her come back on for sure, you guys. So reach out to all of my girlfriends who love to travel. This is who you want to contact. Lynett, again, thank you so much for coming on 50 Shades of Life, and we hope to see you again. But thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for having me. Have a great evening. Great Sunday.
Good night.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Black business, running up these digits, fresher than them dishes.
Talia, grant your wishes, I'm a tarot reading witness.
5-0, yeah, 50.
Welcome to 50 Shades of Life.
No sunshine.